It's time to head to beautiful Siem Reap, Cambodia, to meet and greet the locals and do a whole lot more. Huffing and puffing as only a middle-aged white guy can. Join me as I wander through buildings dating back 800 years.
Now, one of the tips you can actually do when visiting Angkor Wat is arrive the evening before. You can buy the ticket starting at 4:45 and give you access to the sunset. And then you can actually use the ticket beginning of the next day. And all these people behind me right now, that's what we're all lined up to do. You get the 3-day pass, you get the 1-week pass. Just open up the lines. Now we're at 3 days. Picture of us. And now we wait. So, here we go. We have our ticket, and this is the 3-day ticket. And what's cool about it is you can go in the park any 3 days, and what they do is they punch a hole in it. So it doesn't have to be 3 consecutive days at all. So yeah, we're good to go.
With dusk about an hour away, we hopped in our tuk-tuk and set off for Breathtaking, a temple dating back to the early 10th century.
Passing the checkpoint. The road here is fantastic. Beautiful, beautiful. Tall trees. Great canopy. Oh my God. Love it. Can't wait till we get closer.
It's located past Angkor Wat, meaning it does take some time to get there. However, those leaving promptly from the time the gates open, they can leisurely pass through the park and see the structures slowly bask in the falling sun. The car park for Breathtaking fills up quickly. When we arrived, we instantly were berated by hawkers trying to sell everything from souvenirs to ice-cold beer.
Climb up a hill by elephant, only $20.
The colony of tuk-tuks gathering at the mountain's base meant we had to take careful note of where we deposited ours before setting off to climb the mountain. Amputees and survivors of local conflicts provided a lively score for our journey.
So we've made it to the top of the mountain, and as well you would expect, it's a very popular place to wind out your day and take in the majesty of Angkor Wat.
Determined not to miss out on the sunset, we persisted. A few minutes later, I was climbing the stairs to the temple's top level.
As you can tell, people up here are really jazzed to see the sunset. We go up these steps. Check out these steps. I mean, broken. So narrow. So intricately cut together.
Navigating through the swarm assembled, I tried to find the perfect perch. It took some time, so I was able to explore a little of this historic site. I observed some paying their respects to the Buddha and teaching the next generation how to do so. Thankfully, a pair of elderly women gave up their spot along the terrace's edge, and I quickly staked out my claim. The vantage point offered an uninterrupted view of the horizon and fallen ruins before me. The orange ball slowly continued its descent towards the horizon, giving me sufficient time to admire the cracks, crevices, and crumbled bits of stone surrounding me. The last lingering rays of sunlight slowly faded, signaling the end of the day. It was time to depart, but only for a few hours.
Alright, my friends, well, it's time for our first full day here. Got our tuk-tuk, and now it's time to head on out. I gotta tell you, I am really excited about this. Joe, you're excited about this? Of course! Well, after a dusty and bumpy road, we arrived at the checkpoint, having our tickets stamped.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Angkor Wat is surrounded by an enormous moat. Measuring between 170 and 190 meters wide, this water feature is filled to varying degrees throughout the year.
Now going into the temple complex, and I just love these things because you can see how closely fit the stones were placed in. And even though the other side is, well, as you can see, a little worse for the wear, they are taking some steps to correct it. What is this up here?
To be truthful, I don't know exactly what this is, since no English-speaking guides were close. Whatever their original purpose served, they garnered attention.
Man, just the initial impressions of seeing the facade, the exterior wall. This is why I love coming to Southeast Asia. These old temples are spectacular to look at. The detail is just so amazing, and to think that there is no mortar here. It's just tightly fitted stones. I'm always blown away. Always blown away.
Angkor Wat is considered to be the largest Khmer religious complex ever built. Built during the first half of the 12th century, Surya Varman II built this temple to honor the Hindu god Vishnu.
Oh wow. Oh, this great hall. So amazing. I really hope you can see this in detail. Oh, the reliefs on the wall. Absolutely amazing. Check out these reliefs. Carved into the sandstone. Oh, and some broken Buddhas. You can see where some candles were burned. Amazing.
Adorning Angkor Wat's walls are devitas, often referred to as nymphs by visitors. They play an important role in the temple's history, but at a lesser extent when it became a Buddhist structure.
Alright, now this is the one that really caught my eye, the golden Buddha up here, so let's... Oh!
Not Buddha, but Vishnu. Walking through Angkor Wat, Hindu and Buddhist ideologies intermingle, making it hard to determine what is present until close.
Oh, the roof. Really amazing. Oh, man. And even the integral inlay on the columns up there. Oh, wow. I find small carvings like this absolutely amazing. That these were just created so many years ago. And to have lasted exposed to the elements, even in this poor condition, still I find amazing. And it's something that I come back to time and time again. And I love seeing how cultures preserve their way of life over the years. However, I am really disappointed that here at this UNESCO site, one of them has been defaced and they haven't taken the efforts to remove the vandalism. And another variation of the Vishnu statue. You can see the arms are broken off though. But through that glowing door, that's what we came for.
Leaving the West Gallery, passage to the main Angkor Wat complex is obtained by walking on another causeway. The park is one of the most visited in the world, and during peak seasons sees thousands of visitors vying for limited space. However, on our visit, claustrophobia never entered into the fray, and I was surprised, as I thought there would be more people here. In 2007, 2 libraries were restored. They're seen about halfway to the central compound and offer a great bit of shade on hot days.
Playing with one of the tourists.
He's just waiting for some fun. Do not exit? We do not enter. Could go this way then. Way of the visit. Always have to follow the way of the visit. So one of the things I think is truly a shame is that so many people are sold on the idea that you need to just blow through Angkor Wat. You need to see as much as you can in as little time as possible. But if you plan ahead and you actually schedule 2, 3, or more days here in Siem Reap to see the archaeological park, you have the opportunity to take time to sit, like I'm doing right now, in one of the minor courtyards and look and appreciate the detail. For example, you come in this main courtyard, you see the intricate roof lines, which are amazing. I mean, there's no other way to say it, but it is truly amazing. And you notice that on the wall there are carved reliefs. And yes, you would see them if you were just on a walking tour. But I really believe that by taking the time, sitting down, you have the ability to really appreciate it more, to study the detail. And that's really what makes it possible to take in and appreciate what was done so many years ago. And one of the things I am just absolutely blown away with, and it shouldn't really surprise me after all this time, having worked for the National Park Service and a cliff dwelling, so I know how cool sandstone can make an environment in the heat, but still, you're outside baking in the sun here at Angkor. You step inside these walls, the temperature just drops like that. Oh, that is awesome. So here we have the line to go up. Lots of people waiting in line. Seems to be moving fairly good. Oh wow. Check it out, that is amazing.
After waiting in line for a few minutes, I was allowed to climb to the top of the central sanctuary. Visitors are allowed up at specific intervals and only for 15 minutes. It might not seem like a lot of time, but it is worth it. Not only do the views at the top provide exceptional context regarding your location inside the park and your surroundings, but the Devitas carved here are superb. There's even examples of woodwork and lacquer, providing a hint at its ancient beauty.
So in this gallery, we have another Buddha. Oh, this one is actually robed. And it looks like the shrine behind it is actually cordoned off. But still, beautiful display. Oh, that's a great formation. Another gallery in here.
smaller Buddhas in here. Much better preserved. A reclining Buddha. Oh, wow. At the end of the 12th century, during the reign of Jayavarman VII, Buddhism became the major religion. During that time, several changes were made to Angkor Wat. These included the addition of Buddha statues to the uppermost vestibules, but also some archaeological changes. As a Hindu temple, vestibules were open on all sides. However, when Buddhism became the major religion, Buddha statues were installed, and 3 of the 4 arches or openings of the vestibules were bricked up, allowing only one entrance to the enlightened one. But for many, the star attraction inside Angkor Wat is not the climb to the central sanctuary, it's circumnavigating the bas-relief galleries. Rally cap time, so I can see these carvings just a little. Whoa. Almost from floor to ceiling. All reliefs in just the preserved detail. It's amazing. Probably the most well-known of these bas-reliefs is the churning of the Ocean of Milk, or Milky Way. The relief depicts an epic battle for eternity. The gods required a mitra, a nectar of immortality, but it failed to materialize one day. Fearing this would bring about chaos to the world, Vishnu brokered a truce between the gods and anti-gods. Vishnu used a giant snake from the sea bottom to churn the ocean until the magical elixir appeared. Another popular carving is that of Krishna riding Garuda. Perched on Garuda's right is Krishna's wife, Satyabhama. Krishna is seen here returning victoriously after having defeated the anti-gods. Probably one of the best ways to enjoy the experience here is, of course, to take in the temple itself and then the surrounding grounds. I'll tell you that it takes about maybe 2 hours to really look around the big complex. If you're a fan of history, a fan of culture, then you can spend a lot more time than that.
All right, now it's time for lunch, and I opted to get some spicy fried chicken. Got some good flavor, but not too spicy. Not bad.
And then we headed back.
So we've arrived here at the biome, and you can see it behind me, as well as some of the restoration work going on the far side here. So walking up the main path, you see the faces looking down on you, and they have this smile to them. And their eyes just seem to beam. Penetrates your soul. And just being here on the grounds, it seems to just make you calmer, to make you feel more relaxed. Being here already has a significantly different feel than Angkor Wat. I can't put my finger on it, but I am excited to find out why. Really stunning. Wow, the reliefs over here. Amazing. Oh, through the doorway. That's amazing.
In contrast to the combined Hindu and Buddhist elements of Angkor Wat, Bayon inside the Angkor Thom complex was constructed solely to worship the Buddha. Built in the late 12th century or early 13th century, Bayon is known for its enigmatic faces. In total, 177 have been identified on 47 different towers.
At the top of this in the temple is a nice Buddha. So let's take a look. You see the compound over there. You hear the bats up there. They smell the guano from the bats in the belfry up there. And even though they have the wooden steps here, it's very steep. And just look at the way that those pieces fit together. You just look at those faces up there. You know, this close, you can see all the defects, all the different pieces that fit into place, but down below, it looks like one flawless mosaic.
These faces truly had a calming effect. Their power wasn't only cast on me, but the locals occupying the vestibules. Rather than actively seeking tourists to buy wares, they simply let nature take its course.
Wow, these faces are huge. Now I am told there are some beautiful wall carvings over here, and I was not lied to. Oh my gosh, from almost the floor all the way up to where a ceiling must have been. Just intricate carvings. And you can actually see where there had to be another level. No, not another level, because there are even more carvings beneath the main one. So literally from the floor to the ceiling, this is special.
Leaving Bayon, we jumped into our tuk-tuk and headed to Bapuan, a Hindu temple. It was closed between the 1960s and mid-2011, but the temple itself dates back to about 1060. Surrounded by an enormous moat, quite possibly one of the most unique experiences I had while at Angkor Wat was walking on the narrow causeway.
Now it's time to make our way to the top. Oh yeah, baby. Now for the final set of stairs up to the top. What do you think, everyone? Is that worth it? Oh, wow. Now this is pretty cool. So behind me, you see this bulge right here. If you look really close, you can start to make out the features of a face. Now here at Bapuan Temple, it's actually an intricately stone carved reclining Buddha. That's amazing. Now these carvings are freaking amazing. The way that the elephants have been placed into the wall, one after another. And then when you get up to the front, you can see how they stand with their trunks hanging down.
And this work carries out all along the terrace here. I find it really hard to believe that the sun is already starting to dip down under the treetops. Shadows are growing long, which means that our first day here in Angkor is slowly coming to a close. So after the Elephant Terrace, passed through this amazing gateway, I've headed into another compound. And this particular compound is actually the Royal Palace. And having been to so many palaces around the world, I'm really keen to see what this one's like. Wow, this was not something I expected to see here. It's something that is absolutely brilliant. These large trees growing out of the temple. Well, that's going to be it for us today here at Angkor Archaeological Park. Time to catch some grub, some Z's, and return tomorrow. With our first full day complete, it was time to return to Angkor Wat Archeological Park. While many who visit the park opt to stay near the site's most prominent temple, the park houses many wonders and is best achieved by visiting on multiple days. It's these lesser known and oft not visited temples, still in a state of duress, that provide better insight and experiences. Our first stop, Ta Prohm. Oh wow. You can see how the moss has really taken to this facility. Small. Wow. Just going down here. Totally overtaken by the jungle. You can see where the stress has really affected this relief. How this portion has been pushed out, and that's recessed back in there. The columns, the center is just falling away. The windows here, beautiful doorway. I think it's something I need to go inside and take a look. Wow. Magnificent. And even in here, you can feel how much cooler it is. Even though tonight is not very hot, it's so much cooler. Amazing. Ta Prohm was built in 1186 by Jayavarman VII and dedicated in memory to his mother. It served primarily as a monastery and has about 90 rooms in which the monks studied and meditated. While quote-unquote rediscovered in the 19th century, it was decided that Ta Prohm would be left in its original found state to serve as an example inside the park as to how nature overran the structures. Large trees climbed into and over the ruins, giving the site a more unrefined appearance. However, after the release of Angelina Jolie's Tomb Raider, the monastery stepped into the spotlight and saw a dramatic increase in visitors. Since then, various restoration projects have begun. Just go deeper and deeper. You can look up and you can see how these stones were just fitted together in the pointed arch. And then we get to here. And time has not been kind. All of these reliefs, once so intricately carved into the sandstone, barely make anything out now. But still, incredible. Even looking up and just seeing the way that the stones are laid. Do we have a Buddha here? Do we have a Buddha? No, we have a doorway. And you can see why there's so much restoration work that needs to be done here. It's literally falling apart. Entire rooms just falling in. Actually, you can see all the earth down here. So Joe and I have spotted a small altar in one of the reconstructing zones. You can actually see how they steady the iron scaffolding so it doesn't damage the stone. Out bits of rubber tires. Step over this rope here. Take a look at this altar. Wow. It smells like guano. You really get a feel for how the jungle has just overtaken everything, especially this tree right here. While this temple looks like Tao Prom, it's actually Tao Ke, a Hindu temple never fully completed. Many feel its beauty is only surpassed by Angkor Wat. Beautiful view. Today's lunch. Sarong Tempura restaurant, traditional Khmer food and Western food. Looks like we are probably the only people here right now. Oh, so cute. But very quaint. Quaint place. Oh, they have Cambodian beer on tap. I might have to try that. I haven't had that yet. So for today's lunch, I opted for some Khmer food. There's some chicken here. It's cooked with a sweet and sour sauce. I have to say it's pretty good. Generous sized tomatoes. And some cucumbers. It's really not too bad. There's just something to be said about going through interesting places. You can see how these small bricks are just resting here, and the butterflies up on the edge. And the Khmer people must have been fairly small, because these archways, I do have to stoop a little bit. Let's see if I can make it through all the way. Nope. Definitely have to duck just a bit. Oh. You come up here and you see all of this. Stunning. Very small. Won't take too much time to go through it. And unfortunately, the enclosures over here are all destroyed. So this area over here is where we typically see the hallways, the galleries with the pointed arches on top. It also means all the reliefs along the hallways are also gone. But still, you have an idea of how awesome this place has been. You get a little bit narrower and the height changes. A little uneven as well. Here we are. Oh wow. Breathtaking. Historians believe Batai Kadai to be part of a larger group of temples forming a Buddhist triad. These other temples include Ta Prohm and Pre Khan. We then traveled to Ta Som, which was built around the same time as Ta Prohm and has similar features. It's considered a satellite temple of Pra Khan and is also overrun with trees. Exploring this temple doesn't offer any new insights into Khmer architecture, but the carvings on the side are simply stunning. Especially in the window. The beams have fallen away. You can really see just how detailed these stone reliefs were. They were not kidding when they said that there was a lot of restoration taking place here. Pretty much all the enclosures, the galleries from around Ta Som are gone. And while some you've seen steel supports, these are only in place with the pointed arch with wooden blocks. But still, it's magnificent. And over here, this is awesome. So we're coming up, and I'm actually not sure what this is supposed to be in relation to the rest of Ta Som. So you can see the intricate inlay here. I'm assuming that central portion right there may have been a Buddha based on the figures in the relief carvings. But this really would have been where another gallery would have been, because over here you have a doorway. And I'm actually gonna go through it. You can see a pedestal here. Actually, now this is interesting, because you can see a trough, and maybe it would have gone down there and out. And now we're in the inner compound. Definitely Buddha. This is the same relief that we saw out in the courtyard. Just the detail work is amazing. And those reliefs are actually the same. They're on top of the central shrine. And this is the central shrine. I am all turned around. We can see how it's being shored up so it doesn't fall over. So go in here. Oh. And again, it's the only temple I've seen. Oh. Bats. Smell of guano. And it's dripping. I am not gonna go in here. Among the scores of temples inside the park, sometimes you need a break, and that's what Neok Pion provides. These 4 ponds represent a mythical lake. It's completely flooded, but still absolutely stunning. Finally, we headed to Pre Khan. The pathway is a little bit different from what we've seen before. You see a lot of pillars, almost lanterns, very reminiscent of other Buddhist temples I've seen around the world, where you have various reliefs marking the main pathway up to the temple structure. I gotta say, down here, you can actually see where a lot of earth has been covered up. And these reliefs are somewhat covered. You can see back here in this first one, only half of the relief is exposed to the environment. But as we continue down this road, more and more is exposed. And all of the pillars are of uniform height. So it really means that this has been excavated. And actually, as we get further on, you can actually see the little curb that they're on. Visiting Prakan is best done either in the morning or late afternoon, the latter being my recommendation, as the temple has some of the best carved statues on the large circuit and unique Khmer stylings. Check out the display. It's places like these that I find truly fascinating to go into, not only for the historical perspective, but also just to learn how they existed, how they created these masterpieces. Sadly, the large circuit was complete, and the sun once more began dipping lower in the sky. Riding through the Victory Gate, we soon arrived back at Angkor Wat as the final rays of light slowly eroded from view, silhouetting the famed mountain temple. It was time to go, but we would return the following morning. Well, how is that for a sunrise? Did I deliver? Well, it's time for Joe and I to grab some of our 50-cent baguettes and head on to our next location. Check this out. 50 cents for this soft baguette. It's so good. With both the little and big circuits complete, Joe and I turned our attention to the sites further away from the main area of the park, leading us to Cabal Spian. Here we are beginning our 1.5 kilometer trek up to where the carvings are and the waterfall. It's the middle of the day, so the heat has beaten down on the back of us. But hopefully, this tree canopy will provide some shade. They tell us it takes between 20 and 30 minutes to get up there, and so far, it's a moderate incline, but nothing too difficult. Well, here we are, the river and a little of the waterfall. The natural bridge spanning the canyon. And you see the carvings into the waterfall there. It's amazing. Cabal Spian dates back to the 11th century and features many Hindu carvings in a flowing riverbed. You'll be able to pick out lingas and Vishnu reclining on the cosmic ocean. Other Hindu deities are also present under the canopy of tall trees. Because of the time it takes to reach this area, it's best to plan your visit so that this is the main focus. So after 2 days of walking through Angkor Wat and the surrounding temples, it's actually nice to really come up here to this forested canopy to see these carvings into the riverbed. It makes for a welcome change. Not that I'm unhappy with what I saw in Angkor Wat, but allows you to put everything in perspective, to see how these religious symbols were used elsewhere during the time period. And even here you see this beautiful waterfall behind me. So coming up here was certainly well worth it. You actually feel the mist come and hit you. And as the sun beats down on me, I gotta say it's a welcome relief. This was certainly worth the hour trip out here and the mile hike up. By far one of the best experiences we've had here at the Angkor Archaeological Park. Oh man, we made it down and that sun is really beating down. Really hot. And as you can see, we're down where all the restaurants are and they're all calling for us. So we're gonna see what is the best menu, the best price, grab some grub before heading on. So we ordered our lunch, and one of the things that, well, we were able to get today was a free drink. So overall, it's not saving us any money when you factor in some of the other cheaper restaurants, but when you buy your beverage, it all comes out to be the same. But this one actually has an old style pull tab, which I haven't seen, and now I broke. So that's a sad panda. So let's give today's meal a taste test. A little fried rice chicken. It's got some really good spice to it. I like it. With lunch settling in our stomachs, it was time once more to hop on our tuk-tuk. However, this journey wouldn't be too long, as we were headed to the nearby Bante Shray. So as soon as you turn the corner from the ticket booth, you see the entranceway, the entry hallway to Bante Shray. Look at the artwork, the iconography on the top there. Bante Shray is a true gem, dating back to 967. It's a Hindu temple built to honor Shiva. Over the years, the site has continued to gain popularity, meaning it sees more and more visitors despite its remote location. Overall, Bante Shray is a small temple when compared to other sites. However, the reason why this is a must-see stop on any tour to Angkor Wat are the carvings. In short, they are unparalleled in beauty. Now, what immediately has captured my attention are, of course, the remnants on these far walls. And looking out over the walls, which would have at least probably been some sort of covering at one point, you just see these beautiful, historic places that at Angkor served as libraries. Now you might be asking yourself, aren't all temples the same? And I guess the case can be made that in general cases that is true. However, there are unique features of each. And the reason why people make the extraordinary trek out this far is because of the carvings, the iconography, not only above the doors but throughout this temple. And as you can have seen just from coming in through the main entryway, the main gallery, they're at a caliber that's really even beyond what you would have seen at Angkor Wat. The ones there certainly are amazing, stunning, breathtaking. But here, the attention to detail, I think, is just a little bit more. And if you come to this archaeological park, this is one place you really need to go. A small moat guards the central area where the bulk of the detailed carvings can be found. The sheer number of carvings worth examining closely mean it's possible to spend an entire day.
So you come into the central area, and literally everywhere you look are these fine carvings. I mean, so intricate. The detail is absolutely amazing on every single doorway. And this temple compound is actually quite small. And with it, so much of the walls being down, you can actually see we entered through over there. Here's the main gate for the central area. And then you come through, and here's the central shrine. And all over the place, the carvings are just stunning. And then over here, we're already making our way out to the opposite side. Sadly, our time at the Angkor Archeological Park is coming to a close as Joe and I make our way up the long path to our final temple. It's actually bittersweet because as we have spent more and more time here, we've come to appreciate them so much more. And what we once thought would be more than enough time to visit and get our fill, we've actually come to the realization it was far too inadequate. Oh wow. You can see where they're doing some studying work. Oh wow, the detail of the door, how they're gonna have to shore this up pretty soon. You can actually see where it's shifting away. I bet these were once windows. They were then closed up. You have the curtain windows here. As we wow. That is stunning here at sunset. Oh wow. The way that the colors just seem to come to life. This truly is a remarkable find. And being here so late in the day, we pretty much have the place to ourselves. Oh, wow. So we have a small Buddha and possibly, I wonder what that is. Could it be an old sarcophagus? Well, we just got the word that it must be 5:30. So the temple is closed. I have to make my way out. But man, what a beautiful sight. What a beautiful sight. Just the intricate details of this work is amazing. See if I can get around to the other side, outside.
Amazing. So beautiful. You dream about having an experience where you're inside one of these ancient temples, pretty much by yourself. And now that I'm here, it's closing time. And I honestly do not want to leave. Visiting Angkor Wat was truly an awesome experience. And I have to say that even though we spent 3 full days there, plus an evening before, it just doesn't seem like it's enough. And the reason for that is that Angkor Wat and the archaeological park itself are one of these places in the world where you go there and you're on sensory overload. And when you leave and you start to process your experience and you start to research the things that you witnessed, you start to realize how little you understood while there, and the park itself calls back to you. It's one of these places where I could envision myself returning to time and time again and having unique experiences each time. So I think that's a good place for me to leave this inaugural episode of Out and About. But before I go, I would love to hear from you. What is the one location in the world that you can always go back to time and time again? Please leave a comment in the section down below. And until next time, thank you so much for watching. Stay true to yourself and always be awesome.